Hello everyone, this is the video 43 of my database management systems question video series. In the previous video, uh, actually we started a special video series about relational algebras, and today will be the last video about relational algebras. So without further ado, let's jump into our question set. Okay. There are five engineers who develop the database of a software company. You are one of those five engineers. The company you work for has been assigned to create software, and you have entrusted this team to create a database of that software. The software uses the product brand table to store product information in the database. Use this table to answer the following questions. Okay, there are two tables called product table and brand table, and here they store product details like product name and brand ID in product table, and the brand details like brand ID and brand name in a separate table. Now we have to use these two tables to answer our question. Okay, let's see what's the question is. Okay, here's the first one. Create a relational algebra query needed to find the shock biscuit on the product table of the database. Okay, uh, shock is a name of a biscuit. So uh, here, in this case, in the product table, you can see this is the product name shock, and the product ID is number 5. But we can they only gave us the product name, so we have to use that product name to find this record in the product table. Actually, in this question, it's not necessary to include the brand ID because they specifically don't mention uh, mention the brand. So we can use this product name to find our details. Okay, here you can see this is the uh, selection algebra. Here selection method in relational algebra. You can see sigma is the Greek symbol. We explained about these symbols in previous videos, and you have to mention the condition. Uh, if there's any filtering part, you can mention that, and after that you have to mention where the data stored, actually the name of the table. So as the condition, here's the condition. In the product table, uh, product name should equal to this name shock. Okay, and as the relation, we can mention the name of the table which contains the details about this product, which is the product table. Okay, and this is the final answer. This is the final selectional algebra uh, query, and sorry, selection method of relational algebra uh, query. And we can jump into our next question. Okay, and the second one is search for product details under the brand name Hawaiian Cookies and product Munchie. Create the required relational algebra query. Use 2 as brand ID. Okay, here again we have to filter some data. In this case, we have to find a complete row, and now there are two conditions. Brand name should be Hawaiian Cookies, and also the product name should be Munchie. Okay, let's see how we are going to do that. But if we are going to filter some data, we have to use the selection method. Okay, this is the uh, syntax for selection method. in relational algebra. And let's see what are the conditions. Let me show you the database here. Here you can see this is our detail. This is our record, and you can see only the brand ID is stored in the product table. Brand details are stored in a separate table, and this is the foreign key brand ID foreign from the brand table to product table. So the brand ID is number 2 in Hawaiian cookies, and number 2 is Munchie. So they directly gave us the brand ID, so we can use this brand ID without mentioning the brand table. I'm going to type the first condition. First condition is brand name should equal to Hawaiian cookies, this one, and we use this and keyword in previous videos. As in SQL queries, we can also use and keyword in relational algebra. And after that, this is the second condition to filter our data in the product table, uh, the brand ID. Sorry, this is not brand name, the product name. Product name. Brand name should equal to 2. And after that, we can mention the relation where the data stored, which is the product table. Okay, and this is the final answer for this question. And let's move on to the next one. Okay, SQL query is designed by other members of your team to suit their needs. Write the relational algebra query to create query to the created query. Okay, uh, our teammates already developed a SQL query. They create a SQL query to find details in these tables. You know, MySQL or SQL languages are based on tables or relations, and we can also uh, use SQL language to develop queries, and also we can express these outputs using relational algebra too. So this is the first. There are two SQL queries. Select product name from product and select product name from product where brand ID is equal to 2. Okay, let's see what is the first part. How to express the details outputted from the first SQL query in relational algebra, and after that we can move on to the second one. Okay, here select, let me explain that. Okay, here in select, that means this is a selection. We are selecting some data, filtering some data, and uh, product name. If you use the asterisk marks, this will output all the attributes in our table or relation, but in this case they specifically mention a specific attribute, product name. So only the details in the product attribute will be outputted from uh, sorry, after we execute this query. And from product, that means from product means they mention where these data are. So in the product table, all the details in the product name attribute will be outputted as the answer. So let's see how we are how to create our relational algebra here. Okay, uh, in this case, there's a specific attribute we have to output and eliminate other attributes, other unwanted attributes. So if you watch the previous videos, we had to use the projection method. So this is the symbol, the Greek symbol phi, to express the projection in relational algebra. And in this uh, within these two brackets, we have to mention what are the attributes we need to output, and also we have to mention what is the uh, re relation where the data are. So here's the first one. Attributes should be, there's only one attribute, product name, and relation. Those this attribute is, this will output the product name, and uh, these data are stored in the product table. So, and this is the final answer for the first part of the question. And let's see what we have to do in the second part. Okay, select product name from product where brand ID is equal to 2. Okay, again we have to mention a specific, we have to output a specific attribute. So we are not going to output all the data in every attribute. We are going to output only the product name. So again we have to use the projection method, and here they here this is the data stored, this is the relation where data stored, product, and these data are in product table. And after that there's a condition to filter those data. Brand ID should equal to 2. So if we jump back to our table, you can see we have to select only the products where brand ID is number 2, which are these uh, data. Here you can see brand ID is 2 in all uh, records, and we don't have to output the product ID and brand ID. We only have to output the product name of these 4 records. So this will be the output. This will be the output after we execute this query. So we have to write our relational algebra to express the same idea, and this time again product name should be output, sorry, should output as the uh, final attribute which data stored. And also in the relation area where the data is stored, actually we are uh, transferring data. We are uh, mentioning the data. We have to mention all the data, and we have to input those data into this projection, and this will eliminate other attributes and show only the product name. So in this case, again we have to mention the product name, but that's not enough. Not all the details in the product name, only the brand ID, uh, only the product where brand ID is number 2. So we can't directly mention only the product relation name. We have to use a selection to output only the details of the product name. Sorry, only to output the details, the records in the product table where the brand ID is number 2. So this is the sigma mark the Greek Greek symbol to express the uh, selection method in relational algebra. And okay, here we have to mention uh, what is our condition. So the condition is the brand ID should equal to number 2, and uh, after that we have to mention where these data are in the product table. So uh, and like this will be the final output for the second query. And I think we complete the all three questions of question set 43. And that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.